Hello and welcome to this video in which we are going to talk about how things didn't go as planned again. So in the previous video I was talking about how I had done an illustration for my cousin and that I was going to set myself up with the path of least resistance when it came to doing the next thing. And what I ended up deciding on was to make a very simple standing illustration of a character that I did not have neither positive or negative thoughts about, and that was Cinderella. And I thought, oh, I have done this, so it's so easy for myself, it's so easy, I have no pressure. And that turned out to not be good, because I simply did not do it. I did not pick up the tablet and draw on it. Well, I did it for a very short amount of time. So it turns out that I have been struggling way more with negative criticism than I thought I have been doing. Which is definitely tied back to anxiety and that sort of stuff. But I realized that a lot of the stuff I have been doing within I don't know how long, a fair amount of time, it's that I don't hype up the project. I'm scared of being invested in it, because if I'm invested, then everything bad about it is gonna cut me down. But I realized that with art and crafting, you really don't want that mental hang up. I suppose you probably don't want it at all, but especially with art and crafts that you're doing for yourself. So I realized that I do focus a lot on the negative aspect of criticism, which is definitely a leftover from the years at university. But I realized that I still do it in a capacity that isn't really beneficial to me. I was watching a TV series, and I was amused. I was okay with watching it, it wasn't bad. And as soon as it was finished, I immediately tried to figure out all the negative things you could possibly say about it. And even if the things I sort of thought up at that moment was significantly smaller than the positive things, I still put more value into the negative than the positive, even though it was for the most part a very positive experience of watching that series. And I realized I do that with not just TV series or movies, but with everything I experience, that I focus a lot on the negative parts that I don't like. And I'm yeah, but you are playing this game for 2 hours, so it has to be somewhat good if you continue to playing it. Yeah, but let's nitpick on that tiny little piece instead. And as I said, that has definitely to do with anxiety, because anxiety forces you to focus on the tiny little negative things that are of no value to you right now. But anxiety will focus on them anyway. So yeah, so I've realized that I really need to work on that aspect of yeah, sure, you can definitely point out that a thing is slightly problematic or something, but that I really need to lift the good parts. So the Cinderella picture didn't really happen, and I'm okay with it. As I said, I had very little hype for it. But I realized that if I want to draw something, I really must be excited about drawing it. But I don't know what to draw in that case, because like I don't interact with media the same way I used to do when I was a teenager. Like I'm not the person, like today I would not go 11 times to the movies for one movie. When I was a teenager, I did that. I went to the movies 11 times to see the same movie. It was the Fellowship of the Ring. But I like, there isn't nothing that I'm that excited about anymore, or right now at least, because anxiety and stuff. So I don't really know what to try to draw, because I also don't want to do the whole process of designing something and trying to pick a character that I wasn't interested in, didn't work, and I'm not interested in any character to that extent that I'm like excited about it. So I'm not really sure on how to deal with that. The only thing I've been able to think up could be an option is to dig out my old art and try to do a redraw this kind of thing. The thing is, I barely remember anything about those characters, so we'll see. It might work. I think that's going to be the next step for me anyway, just so that I have something to do. I did connect my drawing tablet to my computer. I also moved my computer to the desk, but it is better for me than the standing sitting desk I made myself. I've been thinking about getting another desk, but that's not for now. I really wanted this video to be like the curve up, and it is not even like the flat. I wouldn't say it's gone down, but it hasn't gone up either, so well, you have to have flat. A plateau is also good for getting up, I suppose. So I've been trying to figure out some smaller projects I can do that's not that involved. So one thing I have figured out that I do actually want to make, and that I have been able to hype myself a bit for at least, is I want an Othello game. Yeah, the game of Othello. And I figured I could make it out of polymer clay, making the little circly things out of polymer clay, and then just doing a grid on a piece of paper or something like that, so that me and my sister could play it. That does involve going to the store and buying clay, so we'll see about that. On the other hand, me and my sister did do the salt clay, and I have my pieces that I made from that. I'm like, this is sort of like what I mean. I am only seeing like the negative things. Overall, that was a very pleasant experience, which was, I would probably say, a good solid like 95% was because I did it with my sister, so it was a social thing instead of a creating thing for me. And like as I said, I'm only like seeing the negatives. Overall, it was very pleasant. I don't know if sculpting is like the thing I want to do, but like doing it, small things maybe work. So I made that little garden gnome and then some mushrooms. Oh, that's been falling over a bit. Oh, they're not the most stable ones, but yeah. And then I also did a flamingo, because why not? So yeah, it makes me happy seeing them, but as I said, I focus too much on the negative. I need to focus more on the positive, and this is sort of trying to do that. So that's that for this video. Hopefully next week there will be actually drawing in one of these, or any sort of crafting actually. We'll see. Ta-ta!